Hi everyone, Gianni Di Poce here with you for TheoTrade, and today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Interesting day in the markets here. We are down for the most part. You do have the Russell 2000 trading in positive territory. Starting to see signs that the duration of this decline is coming to an end. In other words, we are closer to the end of this pullback than the start. In other words, it's too late to short at this point. So the strategy needs to become where do we start to try buying the dip? Well, you see here the S&P, we are down but off the lows of the day. The NASDAQ is still leading to the downside, which is a bit of a problem at this point. I'm watching this low from the 10th of October in many markets to see if we can get a bounce off that. If you go back to the S&P here from the lows of the day today, you are about 50 points away from that low of October 10th. But you're still seeing some weakness here. Actually, the Dow's down more than the NASDAQ right now. The NASDAQ's only off about 0.5%, but you're still seeing it sell off more than the S&P 500. Now, you take a look at the Russell. The Russell's up around 0.6% right now, showing some notable relative strength. There's a lot of value to be had in this index, largely due to the rotations that we've been seeing going into the healthcare and the financial sector. Now, healthcare stands head and shoulders above the rest, and there's a reason why. Really, my only long positions that I've been taking and the only long positions that have been working over the last month have been in healthcare, and that's because of the Trinity Terminal picking up on that flow very early on. So you can see healthcare here up around 0.75%. Take a look at XBI, the biotech ETF, up similarly. IBB, the biotech ETFs, up almost a full percent. And as you can see here, this sector really has gone parabolic, up almost 60% from its lows of April. And you zoom out to the monthly, and this is the chart that gets me excited. I mean, you're about $10 away from a new all-time high in IBB. You look at XBI, I mean, you could still be 40, 50% more to the upside and barely be at a new all-time high. So I think this is emerging as the sector to own going into year end, but also into the start of 2026. This is being confirmed by the Trinity Terminal, and it's just looking very, very constructive. And some of the names that we've had over in the Trinity trade, names like ARQT Biotherapeutics, this is actually a stock that we started picking up back in the beginning of September when the terminal was flashing signs like, hey, something's going on in healthcare. This was one of the first leaders that popped up. And since Friday, this stock is up significantly, up over $5 from Friday's low, looking very strong. You got some other names in the Trinity that are holding up very well, names like Insight, names like PTCT. So these have been the leaders in this very choppy tape as tech has been unwound. However, remember, that sentiment could shift pretty quick because we do have Nvidia earnings tomorrow. So that's going to be after the closing bell tomorrow. And it looks like we're shaping up for a potential higher low here. So there is a catalyst, a backdrop for a bounce to happen now. And basically, we're in a situation when it comes to stocks at the index level that it's new all-time highs or bust. So if stocks can't rally, I think, to make new all-time highs by the end of the year, then we're going to be in serious trouble, and we're probably going to see this market break down further. Now, the rotation into healthcare has been significant. It used to be that the sector was weighted a lot. It was larger as a percentage of the S&P 500 that it is now. But again, this is a sector that has not hit a new all-time high since September of 2024. So we're talking, 14 months since it's hit a high. For all the bubble talk out there, one, you're not hearing much of that this week. But two, healthcare is definitely not in a bubble. Biotech's definitely not in a bubble. So this rotation, I think, is really shaping up nicely. I think the trend's going to continue, and we'll see if this becomes the new AI theme. There were some announcements earlier today. Microsoft looks like it could be on the verge of breaking down. Amazon's been decent to us, but might be getting stopped out of that here shortly. But I still like what's going on in Tesla. Might have a little bit more downside in this name, but I'd be looking to buy the dip on that stock. So, some of the Mag 7 names that have been lagging, I think will start to exhibit some leadership. Apple holding up fantastically. This is a really good sign, poised to be the new leader in the Mag 7. And I do think that Tesla will have its day in the sun. I do think that Tesla will be the Mag 7 stock of 2026, at least for the first half of it. So it looks very good on that front. Let's just change gears here real quick and take a look at precious metals. Both gold and silver are up on the day. You do have silver leading to the upside. I'm watching the setup here in metals because we could be on the verge of the next continuation higher. Now the dollar, finally facing well, actually it reversed. It was lower against the yen, but now it's right back higher. But it's also higher against the euro. So I do think you get a little bit of a bounce in both these currencies in the next few sessions. But if the dollar starts to accelerate and outperform going into 2026, well, it means the U.S. market is going to be the place to be once again. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in crypto because very interesting price action here. Bitcoin dropped as low as 89,325 in the November contract today. We're now up on the day. We've erased those losses. And, we are looking for a tradable bottom here. I must say that I'm very impressed and pleased with the fact that Ethereum is outperforming coming out of this low. And even Solana's up the most. Solana's up almost 9% on the day. So I think this is a pretty strong signal that perhaps the selling pressures are overdone in the near term, but we do need to make some new highs. Like I'll need to see Solana take out this high from November 11th to become outright bullish. And it's pretty similar for Bitcoin and Ethereum because we've been making lower lows and lower highs for the last couple of months in all of these cryptos, but you start making higher highs again, well, the story starts to change and it becomes a bullish one again. I mean, this has been a very healthy, a very profound correction, and there's been some liquidity issues, but I was talking about this when I was live with Garrett Baldwin last week, and I was saying how I wouldn't be surprised if this administration, the Trump administration, allowed stocks to fall a little bit more to kind of reset the sentiment and also force the Fed's hand to cut rates because right now in December it's pretty much a toss-up for a rate cut. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Again, healthcare is the best game in town by far. I am paying attention to some setups in financials, but nothing that I'm actually swinging on right now. But when it comes to healthcare, let me tell you, there are some incredible setups that continue to compound. Again, this ARQT name up very nicely, and we'd already booked profits on this and just letting our profits run. Picked up on the Trinity Terminal, months ago, and it's one of the names weathering this volatility very well as it's designed to do. So that's what I have for today, everyone. I also want to remind you that we do have Black Friday credits here at TheoTrade. And so you can actually buy these credits and double your money instantly. So reach out to us here at Theo. Look into these Black Friday credits because they basically are doubling your money. It's a great way to get 100% return on your investment immediately. So Black Friday credits, use code word Gianni. You can send us an email or give us a call, 623-244-5657, 623-244-5657. So that's all I have for today, everyone. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. See you next time.